Yes, guys, what's going on? Welcome to Adam McKola TV. I am Adam. We are live. This is the Manchester United against Brighton preview. United are back in Premier League action this weekend. After that defeat against Bournemouth last weekend in the Premier League, we really do need to get 3 points. Midweek, we saw a much improved Manchester United performance, but it was against a Partizan Belgrade side that are the 4th best in Serbia and, probably not the best opposition we're going to play all season. Nevertheless, you can only beat what's put out in front of you. And Manchester United did beat Partizan Belgrade. We beat them playing some good football. We did pretty well. We scored a couple of goals in the first half for the first time in a long time as well. And of course, we managed to get more than 2 goals for the first time in a game since that Chelsea game at Old Trafford in the league. And I do mean at home, because I know we beat Norwich 3-1 more recently. So the goals started to come. We're seeing link-up play between Rashford, Martial, Greenwood had a bright performance as well. Absolutely sent a few Partizan Belgrade players to the shops as well. Did you see that piece of skill that he pulled off on 2 Partizan Belgrade players? It was beautiful. We'll speak about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference, his thoughts, any injured players back. We'll find out the team news as well. I'll be giving you my predicted 11 and much more in this live stream, so make sure you're keeping it locked. I can already see in the comments we've got Football Fancast, Hassan, Steady Eddie, Arthur, Ilya, Hassan Ali, which I already said, Mitran, Joey as well. Anshesh is in the house watching the live stream. Dean is talking about Chelsea and saying they're second. We obviously seen Chelsea beat Crystal Palace today. The first half performance was pretty even, but then Chelsea took their chance. A great pass by Willian to Tammy Abraham, and they've started the season pretty well, especially when you consider on the opening day we beat them 4-0, and I think they're like 9-10 points in front of us at the moment, which is pretty incredible when you consider there's only a third of the season gone, if that. So they're doing pretty well at the moment. Manchester United are obviously chasing the likes of Chelsea, chasing the likes of Leicester, who are in action in around half an hour's time against Arsenal, if you're watching this live. If you're not watching it live, because we have about 100 or so watch this live, maybe more some days. And of course, loads of you tune in after. So make sure if you're keeping it locked and you're watching this after, you're thinking, Adam, why are you talking about half an hour to go? That's why, because this was a live stream. And if you're missing the live streams and you're wondering why, then make sure you're hitting that notification button so you get the notification every time I go live and every time I drop a video. What am I looking forward to this weekend against Brighton? Now, Brighton are actually a pretty good side. They're pretty well coached. They haven't been great on the road this season, but they have got a decent amount of points. I think they're ahead of us in the table, if I remember correctly. And having, just got promoted, new manager, well, not just got promoted, recent years just got promoted, having cemented their status in the Premier League. Graham Potter coming in, they're playing some good football, and they're sitting at the moment 8th in the league with 15 points. They score as many as they concede though, and that's the issue for them. As for Manchester United, you look at the stats, and I think we're one of the most highest points dropped from winning positions. I know Tottenham have more than us, and someone else has more than us as well, but Manchester United have around 8 points where we've dropped from winning positions, and that's the problem for us in games like this. Even Wolves away, Southampton, etc., dropping points from winning positions, and we can't afford to be doing that. Against Brighton, if we do go in front, we need to kill them off, and kill them off early, because they're a well-organised side. If we go 1-0 up, they won't panic. They won't panic. Now, they will, of course, look to get goals and look to attack and look to open up a little bit, which will play into our hands, but they won't panic. And they'll be more than happy to see the game be 1-0 for long periods of time. So United need to make sure we take our chances. In the first half against Partizan Belgrade, up until Greenwood scored, I was starting to worry that it'd be one of those halves where we keep missing our chances. Martial had a chance, Rashford had 2 glorious chances which we missed. And then we create the opportunity for Greenwood. He's cool, he's calm, he's collected, he takes his chance, he scores, and we start to relax and the goals come from there. But even in the second half, and it was great to see Ole Gunnar Solskjaer point this out as well, we should have had more goals. And he was saying, no disrespect to Partizan Belgrade, but we should have got 2, 3, 4 more goals in that second half, and we didn't. And we need to stop being kind to teams. And when we are on top in games, when we are creating chances, we need to start taking them. Because as we've seen, without Paul Pogba in the team, without that creativity in the team, chances are few and far between. But what we're seeing is Martial and Rashford are linking up pretty well. Martial's becoming more comfortable in that number 9 position the more he plays there as well. With his back to goal, he's a lot better. And you think this time last season we were complaining about Lukaku with his back to goal. Now there was one occasion against Partizan where he gave it away, and some of you are probably going to remember that and think, oh Adam, what are you talking about? But more often than not, with his back to goal, he's pretty good, whether it's knocking off the first time pass, holding it up and allowing someone else to come into position. And I think that's been vital for us as well, and vital for Marcus Rashford in terms of helping him become a better player and show better performances, because he's now finding more space. People are drawn to Anthony Martial. It opens up holes for Marcus Rashford to pick out. If Daniel James plays in this game, which I expect he will, it'll open up holes for him as well. And you're thinking it's finally good to have a number 9 that can hold that position. Steady Eddie says, Adam, how close do you think Levitt, Laird, Dishon Bernard, Galbraith and Damani Mella are to playing? Obviously Dylan Levitt signed a new contract recently, which is great news for the club. And if you listen to what Joel mentions Mason Greenwood and says ice cold, mate. He is absolutely ice cold in front of goal. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer mentioned that his performances in training have been up and down, and he said that's not nothing to panic about. That's not nothing to worry about. It's to be expected. To have come from under 18s, under 23s football, to come straight into a first team, it's to be expected. And I kind of like that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is managing him pretty well. He's not rushing him, he's not forcing him in, and that's why I don't think he'll start this game. He may come on from the bench, but I think Ollie's doing right with him. And he also made a comment where he said, I'm not managing for myself, I'm managing for Manchester United, so if it's going to take a little bit longer with these guys, so be it. And I think that's a great point as well. He does actually see a future, and he's looking ahead to the future. Whether he's the man that will take these players forward in the long term and, from next summer and onwards, we never know what happens, and the wrong results go our way, Ollie gets sacked. But the fact that he's looking towards the long term is good to see as well, and not rushing this boy. And that I mentioned that in response to your question, because you mentioned Dylan Levitt, etc., etc. And I think we've just got to take our time a little bit. A lot of these players are very talented, and I think when you look at Chelsea and why they're doing well at the moment, and you even look at Axel Tuanzebe and why he's doing well for Man United when he's not injured at the moment as well. And you look at those players, Tammy Abraham, Tomori, Mason Mount, Axel Tuanzebe, what they've benefited from is loan moves and playing first team football week in, week out, playing up against men that are looking to take your legs out week in, week out, and playing for hard points week in, week out. Some of these can stagnate at 23 level and just find it far too easy. And I think Andreas Pereira, I think that's probably why his development has been held back a little bit. People look at him and say, well, he's this age, he should be doing it right now. And I think that's right, we should be seeing more of him now from this age. But also, I think 23's football has got a lot to answer for that. For with a lot of these players, they stagnate in there. It's not competitive enough, especially for the best players in his age rank. And the reason I was talking about Tuanzebe, Tomori, Tammy Abraham, they've had first team football behind them. We're seeing Marcus Rashford now. He's still having times when he'll have dips. Tammy Abraham, Mason Mount, Tomori, Axel Tuanzebe will have that as well, where they have dips in form. But more often than not, they're starting to find their feet in men's football now, and we're starting to see the results for it. And we can't expect that from some of these 16, 17, 18-year-olds because they're not in the same position of having that experience, and they have to learn, the hard knocks of football and men's football as well. It's a complete different step up. Yes, the cream will rise. Yes, the talent will shine through, but there's a little bit of an adaptation as well. That some players may take longer than others to settle in with. Yes, we got a Partizan fan in the comments. Thank you for getting in, mate. Hope you enjoyed the game against Manchester United. Ollie is going nowhere, says Arta. Howson has got some dirt on Gomez. Has he spilled it to you yet? Says Cannonballer. He mentioned something about Angel Gomez in the fan cam we did at the week. after the game against Partizan Belgrade, so you can check that out for that when we're finished here if you want to hear that little nugget. But I think he did tell us what he has heard or what he thinks of Angel Gomez at this moment. Solskjaer has been invited by UEFA to the meeting of top managers. It means Ali has potential, but not everyone sees it now. But experts, I think he would be invited just because he's Manchester United manager anyway, right? Will McTominay play, says Raymond Moore. Now I'm going to bring up the website so I can get the correct quotes. So bear with me, but I'm going to check out the quotes down. The team news that we're hearing from this game. Obviously McTominay is saying he's available and he's ready and he's available for selection, but he has got a knock from that game. Harry Maguire also picked up a knock. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said if either of them are more likely to play, Harry Maguire will. Hopefully Scott, hopefully Victor as well. These are his actual words. Hopefully Scott, hopefully Victor as well. But I know because he hasn't trained this week, it's his back, so he could be out. Ashley Young is suspended, so we're looking at Brandon Williams, who could come in. Could Marcus Rojo keep his spot in the team? That's another interesting shout there. If Victor Lindelof is out, maybe Marcus Rojo keeps his spot in the team. There are options. I'm not going to give the team out now. Ashley's suspended. I felt we needed a strong team to win against Partizan and an experienced team. We just wanted to get the win. Obviously, Juan Mata played fantastically well against, at least in my opinion, he played fantastically well against Partizan Belgrade. He was the main reason for Manchester United's creativity in there. He opened up a lot of the doors for us, a lot of space for us. And look, he hasn't got pace anymore. He's obviously getting older. He's never been blessed with pace, but he hasn't got it anyway. And he's obviously not getting any younger. But with pace around him, with Greenwood, Martial, Rashford, with that movement around him and him just occupying pockets of space with them to create the overload, it worked fantastically well. And he is someone that, unlike Andreas Pereira, so far consistently this season, I know Andreas Pereira has had a few good assists and chances created as well, but consistently. Jesse Lingard as well. Mata was picking up those spaces and finding those pockets and finding those passes pretty well. And I enjoyed the performance from Mata against Partizan Belgrade. Ilya says he was class against Partizan Belgrade. Cannonballer says Mata needs to play against teams with a low block. His passing with Martial and Rashford is absolutely mint, which is what I was just speaking about then as well. Like, I totally agree with you that the passing that he was getting in there, just short, sharp passes. Martial loves it as well. And you could see Martial speaking to Andreas Pereira after the game. And I assume, obviously I'm not privy to the conversation, but I assume it was about the opportunities when Pereira had to make those passes and he wouldn't make those passes, or he'd delay and overthink them. And there's a lot of players in the team that overthink passes. There'll be a pass available, they'll wait. A defender will get back into position and they'll play the same pass that they could have played 3 seconds ago. And it's allowing teams to shift back into position, whereas Martial, Mata, Rashford, they may get it wrong at times because of this, but they pop it off really quickly. And Pogba as well, we're missing him massively. We're missing him. There's so many times Martial was picking up the spaces and nobody was finding him in that Partizan Belgrade match, occupying the positions between the right back and the centre back, or the left back and the centre back, filling those gaps, asking for the ball and just wasn't being found. And I think finding the right man in there could do that as well. Obviously unlock him. Paul Pogba coming back, we urgently need him back. Hopefully not too far from his return to the team as well. Daniel James, earlier on in the season I gave him criticism for his final ball, but more recently in the last 5, 6, 7 games he's been showing signs of picking up those passes and noticing the runs that Rashford and Martial are playing. He's made some great assists for goals as well. I think it's the Rashford goal against Norwich, which immediately springs to mind. But he's also created other chances for players as well. He'll probably play in this game against Brighton, which you'd expect him to, given the form that he's shown. It looks like he's a guy that's got his position in the Premier League 11 locked down at the minute. And Daniel James coming back in, I think, is someone that will buzz off playing with Martial and Rashford as well. So I am looking forward to this game. I'm not overly confident. I'm not, getting ahead of myself, because Brighton, it sounds mad, but I'm expecting a difficult game from them. But I am excited to see what kind of football we do play in this match, because We are seeing signs that some of the players are starting to click into gear. It's just that they've got to get that consistency. We need to see them nailing down that consistency. That's how you get a long career at Manchester United, by being consistent. And we need to start seeing them doing that in a Manchester United shirt. Here's the predicted 11 that I've gone with for this game. David De Gea obviously in goal, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof if he's back, but if not then Marcus Rojo, Harry Maguire and Brandon Williams at left back with Ashley Young missing out. Massive opportunity for Brandon Williams to make that position his own. Then in the midfield I've gone with McTominay if fit and Fred, Daniel James, Martial, Marcus Rashford with Jesse Lingard, who may be fortunate to be in my predicted 11. But I'll explain my decision making behind this. The first one would be Jesse Lingard in form is perfect for this game. He's not in form, so why have I picked him? Andreas Pereira not picking the passes that we need at the moment. You'd argue that he could possibly be saying I should be starting this game because in terms of the Premier League games I'm in form. But I'm just thinking, now we've got Martial playing, now we've got Rashford, now we've got James creating spaces, hopefully making movement. Juan Mata's not going to start a second game in 3 days. We have to be realistic there. Juan Mata is not going to start. Andreas Pereira or Jesse Lingard is probably the likely shout for the player that starts there. I've gone with Jesse here. I'm hoping this can be the game that gets that performance, gets that confidence back. I think he just needs a goal or an assist, something to go in for him. He isn't looking happy at the moment. He's looking like he's lacking confidence. Look, I'm not defending him, by the way. His performances haven't been good enough this season. And like I said, he's lucky to be in that 11. But I think the more recent performances of Andreas Pereira haven't been, like, he's not saying, I have to start. Although some of his performances, like against Liverpool, it was pretty good, etc. But I've just gone with him there, however controversial that is. So that is my 11. David De Gea, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Maguire, Brandon Williams, obviously Rojo if Maguire is not, if Lindelof is not fit, McTominay and Fred in that midfield, Jesse Lingard, Danny James, Marcus Rashford and Anthony Martial. Marcus Rashford scoring goals now. I think he's got 18 goals this season for Manchester United, which is a good return for him so far, with 3 assists as well. Marcus Rashford, I'm just bringing up their stats at the minute, which is why I'm looking down at my phone. He's got 4 goals in his last 3. He's got 4 goals in his last 4 starts for Manchester United as Marcus Rashford, which is great form. Obviously, the 2 goals against Chelsea, the goal against Norwich, and the goal against Partizan. He is in very good form at the moment. His last 7 games, he's scored 6 goals. Marcus Rashford, so his form's fantastic at the minute. Anthony Martial also doing pretty well at the moment as well, scoring a lot of goals. I think he's got 5 goals in 7 games. It might be 8 for him this season. Let me have a look at that. But yeah, they are playing pretty well at the moment, and Mason Greenwood's chipping in with the goals as well, which is great to see. We need goals from midfield. McTominay has obviously been doing his part. We need Jesse Lingard. Danny James has been doing his part as well, beg my pardon. We need Jesse Lingard to start contributing, Juan Mata, Andreas Pereira as well to start contributing with goals, because we need goals to be coming from all positions. As we saw against Bournemouth, when Rashford or Martial don't score, no one scores. So we need them to start doing better than that. 5 goals in 9 appearances for Anthony Martial. I think 7 of those appearances have been starts. Andreas over Jesse for me, says the champion. Mo says don't pick any of those 3 then. I think he means Mata, Pereira and Lingard. So who else would you pick in this team? And remember, it's got to be balanced, because he's not going to pick Mason Greenwood. Or is he? Is he going to go just all out gung-ho attack? Let me know what you guys are thinking. Who do you think will replace McTominay if he's not available? Pereira or Garner? I'd like to see Garner. I think he's more suited to that deeper lying central midfield position. I think with Andreas Pereira, he tends to think when he's on the ball a lot. He plays a lot better when he doesn't think and he just pop, keep passing, keeps moving. But he overthinks. You can get away with that when you're in a number 10 position or in a more advanced position. You can't get away with that when you're on the edge of your own box. So I'd go with James Garner and Fred if McTominay was out. That's who I'd go with there. Who do you think? Yeah, so sorry, I just answered that question. Ollie needs to give Andreas the hairdryer over his decision making, says Cannonballer. It looks like Anthony Martial did that at the weekend. Pogba slots in nicely in that 10 when he gets back, says Iyasu. And it is all about getting Paul Pogba back into this team. It's great to see as well that we are actually settling in on some positions. We've got Aaron Wan-Bissaka settled in at right back. Maguire settled in at centre half. You'd think it's between Lindelof and Tuanzebe for that other centre half position. De Gea obviously is your goalkeeper. Luke Shaw's your left back, but Brandon Williams coming through, showing good signs. Scott McTominay nailing down a position in that midfield. I think Fred, he had that one glaring mistake against Partizan Belgrade, which he held his hands up for during the match. But he's starting to become the Fred of old. Not £52 million Fred, of course. We're still waiting to see that. But he is starting to become at least resembling something more of a midfielder, which is great for when Pogba comes back, because then it gives you the option to play the 3 or the 2 and have one of them on the bench. And that means Pogba tucking in there. You can tuck in, make a midfield 3, play a 4-3-3, or you can play the 4-2-3-1 with him just further ahead as well. And he'd love, you know, imagine if you've got McTominay and Fred just sitting there protecting that back 4, and you've got Pogba and Rashford and Martial being able to create overloads on that side of the pitch. Danny James also stretching the pitch from the other side. It is something resembling more of a stronger first team 11 for Manchester United, and hopefully by Christmas we can start to see that team more often. We need to get Paul Pogba back match fit, that is for sure. The match is obviously a 2 p.m. UK time kickoff on Sunday afternoon. This is the preview. I will be live straight after the match with my post-match reaction from Old Trafford. Well, I say straight after the match, it's as soon as I've finished doing the fan cam. So for full-time Devils, we usually film fan cam for about 30-45 minutes after the game. The game tomorrow will finish at about 3:45, 3:50, so we'll be live at around 4:30, 4:45 on my YouTube channel. We'll be live to talk all about Manchester United against Brighton, and hopefully be celebrating a Manchester United victory. Then by the time that's finished, you can head over to Full-Time Devils for the fan cams, because they'll be starting to be uploaded. You can still go check out the fan cams from the Partizan Belgrade game. There was some good fan cams from the Norwich game as well, and the Bournemouth game, so go check all of those out. The thing with fan cams is when these games start coming thick and fast, they almost become redundant after 2 days, whereas really there's still a lot of debate in those fan cams that will still be very topical and very relevant today from a few games ago. None of these 3 midfielders can play a pass through or lob through. I'd rather play Mattis as Raymond, and that is why Andreas Pereira is actually getting a lot of game time, because Jesse Lingard's been out of form. Juan Mata can't play every single week. Andreas Pereira is someone that can actually do that, pick that pass and make that, find that gap and find a player. He doesn't do it too often. We need him to gain that consistency. Arenuva says Mata over Lingard and clueless runner Pereira. Ilya thinks Manchester United are going to win 3-0. Are we heading towards that time of the show where we start giving our score predictions? I think we are edging towards that. And guys, get hitting that like button as well, guys. Make sure you're hitting the like button. Remember, I'm reading out your comments and I'm reading out your super chats. I'm reading out everything on this show right here, so keep them coming in right now as we're discussing all things Manchester United against Brighton. I'm going to give you my score prediction very, very soon. You've already seen my starting 11. If you didn't, this is my predicted starting 11 right here. David De Gea in goal, Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Maguire, Brandon Williams, McTominay, Fred, Jesse Lingard, Daniel James, Marcus Rashford and Anthony Martial. Remember, there are question marks over the fitness of McTominay and Harry Maguire, although hopefully they will be fit. If not, you might see Marcus Rojo coming in there, or James Garner coming into the midfield. Ilya's going for a 3-0. Steady Eddie's going 5-0 to Manchester United. 2-1 United Cannonballer. 3-0 Rashford, first goal scorer, says Mark Reed in the comments. Can you go hit that like button for me as well? Right now, we've got 30 likes on the video. Get hitting that like button. We should get at least 100 likes before we wrap this stream up. I've read Mark's prediction out, which was 3-0 Rashford first. Goal scorer Raymond 1-0. Mo says any win will do, please. Arunava says 4-1. Drew says, Adam, is that a CR7 shirt or an Alexis shirt? It is neither. It is McKola. Don't worry, I didn't print my own name on the back of my shirt at this age. I did get printed for me. Who sent me that one? I think I got given that one when I did the Chivas Regal thing. When I played at Carrington with Chivas Regal. I think they gave me that. I got given that United shirt because I don't buy these. I got given that when I did the PES launch at Manchester United's Carrington training ground. That's my dad's old 99 shirt, which I'm currently in the process of getting signed. You can see a Ryan Giggs signature. I've got Ryan Giggs's, Wes Brown's, Dennis Irwin's, Gary Neville's, and who else is on there? There's another one, Andy Cole. So Andy Cole, Wes Brown, Ryan Giggs, Gary Neville, Dennis Irwin on the 99 shirt. I want to get my dad every player, or at least 10, 11 players on there. The annoying thing is I met Solskjaer and I never had the shirt with me. Could have got him to sign that. That one is the same as that shirt. I got given this one. It's got a number 12 McKola on the back. I got given that one by Coca-Cola. If you remember, I was in the Coca-Cola advert, which is still out now actually. They relaunched it. So I was in a Coca-Cola advert. This ugly mug right here was in a Coca-Cola advert. Imagine that. And this one right here, I got given to by some friends. It's got Pogba on the back. It's got the Champions League badge with the Europa League winners logo there, and it's signed by the whole squad. So that's Jose Mourinho, Zlatan, Pogba, Phil Jones, Mata, Matic, all them kind of fellas on there. So that one's signed by the whole team. So that is my backdrop that I've got here in the studio to record. So yeah, that's the shirts for you guys that want to know. They don't pay me in United shirts. I just got given them. Like that one I had to wear because we were playing football. That one I had to wear because I was playing football with Dennis Irwin. So yeah, I didn't get paid in them. The PES launch we didn't get paid anyway. It was just an opportunity. The Coca-Cola advert got paid for that. Sell them and buy a big mansion. I don't think you're getting a big mansion with these shirts, to be totally honest with you. I've got more. I've got a Mata. I've got a Spain shirt signed by Herrera and Mata from when I met them and worked with them. I got a pendant from the '83 Cup final. I got that signed by Robbo when I met him. I won when I was about 14, 15 years old. I won some Tim Howard signed gloves and worn gloves on the Man United website entering a competition. So yeah, that was good. That's not getting sold. That's my dad's. I'm getting that framed as soon as I can. So yeah, I don't know why I was going through that. Someone distracted me and started talking about it. Yeah, guys, let me know what your score predictions are in the comments below. My score prediction for this game is 4-0 Manchester United, 4-0 FC. It's Manchester United 4-0. I'm going for. I'll start the FIFA career mode for you guys if you really want it. In comment below if you want the FIFA career mode, and if the comment gets so many likes, I'll do it or whatever. But I'll start that in the international break, see if we can get something going right there. Thank you for tuning in to Adam McKola TV. I appreciate every single last one of you. Make sure you're keeping it locked. Like, comment, share and subscribe. And for now, I have been Adam McKola. I'm out of here.